everyone. Good evening. It is live at 5. I missed you all last week. This training I'm doing tonight was supposed to be last week, and I had some personal things going on. I was running my dad around to different doctor's appointments and stuff, and I was unable to do this live, and I'm really, really, really sorry. I apologize, but I am here tonight, and I'm very excited. I'm excited to talk about this because it is a topic that I find is interesting because a lot of people don't really tell the truth about it, right? So tonight we're going to do a mirror check. And we're going to talk about if you're actually ready to scale your cleaning business and work with a coach. What does it look like working with a coach? How do you know if you're ready to work with a coach? Because not everyone is ready. Not everyone is ready. So if you're jumping on here for the first time, say hi, right? Say hello. Let me know where you're from. And if this is your first time on my live, I go live every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a different topic regarding the cleaning industry. So those of you sometimes catch it on replay, and that's totally fine. Just say hi, let me know where you're from. So I'm going to start. So my name is Cheryl Hasher. I founded this channel and my coaching group, Sisters Who Scale. I am an active maid service owner, a residential cleaning business owner, and power washing and window washing, and soon to be snow removal, sand, and salt. So we're growing. I am growing a company live with you, and I'm teaching people how to do what I do. So I grew my cleaning company just a little under 900,000. I coach primarily female cleaning business owners. They seem to be attracted to my methods inside my Drop Them Off and Scale Accelerator program. That's where I help everyone transform their businesses to $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 months. Everyone is on a different level. Everyone wants something different. So there's something for everyone here. So today, here's what you're going to walk away with today from this training. And I want you to hold me to this. By the end of this training, you're going to know which type of cleaning business owner you actually are right now. You're going to see yourself very clear and in the signs of someone who's ready to scale or who is not ready to scale. And you're going to have a checklist in your hand that tells you the truth, whether or not you're going to say it to yourself or not. This is no fluff, no motivation. I'm holding up the mirror tonight. Who is ready to look in the mirror and say, hi, Karina, I got your homework. I'm going to look at it after this call tonight. Who is ready to see where they are in their business? So I'm going to start by saying something that most coaches will not say out loud. And honestly, that's probably why a lot of coaching programs have a terrible track record, actually, to be honest. So not everyone, some of them are good. But I'm going to tell you, when you're looking for help, you're scared. There's fear. You think it could be a scam, right? I know what you feel on the other side of that, right? And I'll say this again, not everyone who wants to scale is ready to scale, right? I'll say it again. Not everyone is ready. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you need to know which one you are before you invest your time, your money, and your energy into a program, a coach, a mastermind, whatever it is, an online course, or anything else. Because here's what happens when you jump in before you're ready. You quit. You're wasting your money. You go back to cleaning toilets and you're telling yourself coaching doesn't work. I'll get to that later. And then you spend the next 3 years blaming the coach instead of looking in the mirror. So today, we're going to do a mirror check. This training is not about motivating you. I'm not here to pump you up and send you off feeling good, right? I'm here to tell you the truth because I think you deserve that a lot more than you deserve a highlighted reel and a good feeling for 48 hours. So by the end of this training, you're going to know exactly where you stand yourself. And if that makes you uncomfortable, good, because that discomfort is information that you have to pay attention to. you have to pay attention to. So before we talk about readiness, let me be clear about what coaching even is, because I think a lot of people are fuzzy on that idea. A coach is not a cheerleader, or they shouldn't be. A coach isn't someone who holds your hand and validates every decision you make. A great coach collapses time for you. Let me say that again because it matters. A great coach collapses time. Problems that would take you 3 years to figure out on your own, a coach has already been through it and it can help you solve in 3 months. Plateaus that would have had you stuck and spinning for a year, a coach can see that coming from a mile away because they've been there. So here's what working with the right coach actually does for your business. It's going to make everything go faster. You're not starting from scratch. You are borrowing a blueprint that already works. It's going to help you identify your blind spots. And this is the part that no one talks about. Your learning style, your self-sabotage patterns, because you all have them, right? Well, I do too. The way you get in all of your own way, right? I will see things in you cannot see yourself. That's not a dig. That is literally how growth works. So a coach that you're aligned with will push you through the plateaus. And let me tell you, there are plateaus in this cleaning business journey. Every single one of my rockstar clients hits walls at some point. That's natural. That's normal. But the difference between a rock star and someone who quits, the rock star calls her coach and says, what do I do next? Instead of crawling back to her mop and saying it doesn't work and saying I don't have time and blah, 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 blah. If you wanted it bad enough, you have the time. You make the time for everything you want bad enough, right? So what else does it do? It gives you someone in your corner who's already done it. I built my own company up to the, almost $1 million. We're at like 900 around there. I've been on the CleanCon stage speaking. That was a wondrous experience. I'm not teaching theory. I'm teaching what I lived. Okay. Now, this is important. A coach can give you all of that, but a coach cannot want it more than you do. And I'm going to be completely honest with you right now, because I think that's one of the most important things that I can say. Sometimes I want it more for my clients than they want it for themselves. And that breaks my heart every single time, because I can see exactly where they could go. I can see the business they're capable of building. And if they can't see it yet, or they're not willing to do what it takes to get there, there's nothing I can do to move that needle for them. Zero, right? Zero. I give you the tools. I give you the support. I give you the roadmap. I am there alongside of you, but you have to be willing to move yourself. Okay. So now I'm going to talk about the percentage breakdown. I want to talk about the percentage breakdown of exactly the truth about what I do for my clients. So I'm going to share with you something that most coaches would never put out there because it doesn't look perfect, right? I'm not interested in looking perfect. I'm interested in being honest. So here's the breakdown of the owners who come through my program, right? People, they're all excited. We get on a call. I see where they're at. I ask a bunch of questions, see if they're fit, whatever. We decide this is great. I want to move forward. Awesome. Okay. This is the percentage of people. So 10% are ghosts. I'm going to call them ghosts. They sign up. They show up maybe once or twice, few times. Then they disappear. Excuses start immediately. Life gets in the way. They ghost calls. They don't do the homework. Then they're just paying for a program that they're choosing not to use, and, maybe they cancel their credit card and they do, make a shitty move like that or whatever. It happens. People are like that. When it doesn't work, they often blame the program. It's not the program. You didn't do the work and you didn't show up, right? That's it, right? I'm not going to take blame for that. That's 100% your fault. 10% of the people I work with, they're ghosts. Okay. 40%. I'm going to call them the in-betweens, okay? These are the owners who show up. Sometimes they do the work when the work is easy. They get some momentum and then they coast. They're not failing by any means, right? They're getting results, right? maybe not the best results they could get, but they're getting results, but they're not flying rock stars either. Okay. They're kind of hovering, they're doing some work and they get results. They meet a few people that think it's, pretty good, but did they really 100% apply themselves? Did they really? That's only a question that you can answer, right? Okay. And here's what I want you to understand about that. The undecided can absolutely turn into rock stars. It happens. I've seen it, right? But only when something clicks for them. When they get fed up enough with the state of their cleaning business that they decide this is it. I don't want to clean anymore. I want to learn how to do this and I'm going to make a change. Okay. Some of them stay undecided for a little while before that shift happens. Totally okay. It's your own journey. I am not one to tell you what your journey is supposed to be, right? What's not okay is pretending that kind of trying is the same thing as fully committed. It's not. Okay, those are the undecided people. Now, the 50% of the people that I have worked with, I call them the absolute rock stars. These are my people, right? These are the owners who show up for themselves every single day on every single call. They do the homework even when they don't feel like it. They trust the process even when it's uncomfortable, right? They don't make excuses why they can't come to class. Maybe they had to be on a clean because someone called out, but they have the earbud in while on a clean. Do you know what that shows me? That shows me they're committed. And I'm going to go out of my way for those people to make sure they get everything they need from me, right? They hit obstacles, they message me, and I say, okay, they ask me, what's the play? What do I do? I analyze whatever's going on. It's working, it's not, whatever. Those people get massive results, and it takes time, right? These are the Tracys, these are the Glorias, these are the Libbies, these are the Tamaras, these are the Victorias, right? I have a whole list. There's Aaliyahs, Amanda, Jessica, Aramis, is all, these are the women that you've probably seen in my testimonials, right? They're real results from real women who decided they were going to be rock stars before it was easy, right? Here's the thing I need you to get. I cannot make anyone a rock star. No coach can make anyone a rock star. That is not something that comes from me. That comes from inside of you. What I can do to every single cleaning business owner in my program is give them the same exact tools, the same exact support, the same exact roadmap. What you do with that is 100% entirely up to you. So the question is this program going to work? The question you should be asking yourself is, am I going to show up and do the work? That's the real question, everyone. That's the real question, okay? All right, let's talk about signs that someone is not ready. Nothing wrong with it, just not ready. We're going to call this the excuse avalanche, right? Rip the Band-Aid time. It's rip off the Band-Aid time, right? Rip off the Band-Aid time. Did I work? I've had many coaches in my life for different things. Fitness coaches. I've had different types of business coaches. I sure have. I believe in them 1,000%. 1,000%. I wouldn't be where I am today without that. That's a good question, actually. So, okay. I've been coaching long enough to know within the first 2 weeks whether someone is going to be a rock star or not. I usually can tell. I don't want to share what I see. I'm not shaming anyone at all. I'm going to share what I see from my side because I think that if you recognize yourself in this list, it's actually a gift so you can understand where you're at. Okay, so here are the signs as a coach that someone is not ready. They have an excuse for everything, every single thing, everything, right? Can't make the call, excuse. Can't put an earbud in. Come on, you can put an earbud in. Didn't do the homework, excuse. Prices aren't raised yet, excuse. Can't afford it, excuse. They're endless. And they always sound reasonable on the surface, but when every single obstacle becomes a reason not to move forward, that's a pattern. That's bad luck. That's self-sabotage. They blame everyone but themselves. The market is bad. The clients are cheap. Their employees are unreliable. Their city is too small. Their family doesn't support them. And look, sometimes those can be real challenges, but they're not obstacles that you can't figure out. A rock star sees a challenge and then works towards finding a solution. That is different. Someone who's not ready sees a challenge and files it as evidence for why they can't succeed. That is someone that's not ready. Right? There's some mindset at this, right? Another sign is they quit at the first sign of discomfort. It's hard. Scaling a business is uncomfortable. You need to live in that uncomfortable feeling quite a while for a sustained period of time before the results come, before the success comes. There's no version of this journey that is comfortable the whole way through. Someone who's not ready hits that first wall and immediately rationalizes, listen to that word, rationalizes why quitting makes sense. They call it not the right time. They call it protecting their peace. What it actually is fear. It's fear wearing a costume disguised as a rational move for whatever's going on in their life, right? They justify and rationalize instead of solving. So you have a person that's so excited to transform their business and to work, and that has been watching this particular coach, whether it be their podcast or their YouTube or their Facebook, whatever. And then they actually get to the point where they're given the opportunity and they fuck it up. That's not the coach's fault. That's the person's fault. That's the owner's fault. They disappear when it gets hard, right? Everyone's excited in the beginning. They're engaged, right? For the first few weeks, a while. Then the real work starts. The uncomfortable work, the identity shifting work, the mindset work that everyone needs. And then they go quiet. They stop showing up. And eventually, poof, they're gone. That didn't work for me. Why? Because you didn't work it. I'm defending all people in the industry that are experts and coaches and helpers. We all see this. So I'm letting you all know that some people just aren't ready yet. It's okay. Maybe be ready 3 months, 6 months, whatever the deal is, right? Whatever you're going to rationalize in your own mind to make your brain feel safer. I can't, I can only tell you what you're doing. I can't stop you from deciding that. Ultimately, you're going to decide, and down the road, you're going to get more and more disappointed in yourself from not moving forward, right? So, and I want to say this clearly because this comes up all the time. If someone is interested in a coaching program that's going to help them build a business that generates hundreds of thousands of dollars, and their reason for not doing it is the investment, it's never about the money, everyone. A small investment in a program, you know what everyone's charging, right? That is designed to dramatically accelerate your business growth, solve problems that you could be potentially stuck on for years, and help you build systems that run without you. And the barrier is a small price tag. It's not the money. It's never the money, right? So ask these ladies. I work with Gloria Paul. We first started working together. She was at $15,000 a month. She was ready to quit, wanted to quit, didn't have her systems in place, right? She's now sitting at over 40K a month. She hasn't cleaned in a long time. When we first started working together a couple years back, she was cleaning. Not cleaning anymore, right? Not cleaning anymore. Tracy from Missouri, she was terrified to raise her prices. She did it anyways. She did it scared shitless and got better clients and went from $8,000 a month to over 20K a month. She is no longer cleaning. Victoria, my lady Victoria that I love so much from Massachusetts, because she's from Massachusetts like me. She couldn't see a way out of the field. I talked to her this morning. She's 80% out of the field, building her leaders, condensing her teams because smaller teams make more money. And she's over 30K a month every single month. Still more work to do, still more mindset stuff to do, but she made changes scared. You all need to make changes when it feels uncomfortable, when you feel scared about it. You're in the right place when that happens. Andrea from Montana, she niched down the oil field housing cleaning in the oil fields out in Sydney, Montana. She was another one, went from 10K to over 30K. We were on our Graduate Sisters Elite call the other day, and we opened up Jobber because we do Jobber trainings in some of the accelerated classes, and she was hovering around 34K a month. That was her projected from eight. She's dabbling, cleaning. She's in and out. She's not 100% out. Something we still got to work on. But my point is, is all these women did it scared. They invested anyways. It came back tenfold. And whether or not they were actually, I guess I could say it's whether or not they actually were ready to commit and do the work, right? The money objections, it's an excuse. It sounds logical to you, right? Sounds logical because a lot of women live in a scarcity place where they're scared to make a move, scared to spend $1. Husband handles the finances, yada, 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 all that stuff, right? You're scared to make a move. It's just like, men don't have a problem, by the way, spending money. Women are like, I can't spend any money. They get all crazy, right? They have a hard time spending money on themselves, but they don't realize is that actually investing themselves, and that is so it's fear, it's doubt, right? It's that thought, what if I do all this and it still doesn't work? Do you know what you're really saying to yourself? You're not saying that. You're saying, what if I can't pull it off because I don't believe in myself? That's a different conversation. That's a different conversation, right? That has nothing to do with the coach or the program or anything. That's all you. And I get it. I do. But here's the truth. If you can't invest in yourself, you will not invest in your business. You will not make it. You will not grow. And if you don't invest in your business, you're done. It's not going to scale. You're going to stay cleaning. You're going to stay cleaning. That's it. You're going to stay cleaning. That's not my fault. That's because you weren't willing to take the steps necessary and stay uncomfortable to do it, right? So here's something that took me a long time to understand about my own self. When obstacles are in my way, I actually perform better. I actually get so hell-bent on making it work that I am willing to claw and scream and fight my way through it, because that obstacle is not going to make me fail, right? It actually makes me work harder when there's an obstacle. So when everything is smooth and easy, you get comfortable, you coast. But when things get hard, when I hit a wall, when the business, something happens in my business, or, years ago when I was crying on the bathroom floor, wondering what the hell am I doing? Why am I still cleaning, 40 hours a week? And I felt like I was drowning. That is when I get obsessed. That's how you need to turn this thing around 360. That's when I got strategic. That's when I stopped waiting for it to be easy and started building something that would hold, that would work. Obstacles don't reveal your limitations. They reveal your character. Big difference. And I don't know when it happened, but at some point I stopped being afraid of the hard things and I started running towards it. I'm like, ooh, something hard? That means something great is on the other side. Every single time I pushed through something hard, on the other side, it was better. That's a rock star mindset. Not fearlessness, not having it all figured out. None of you are going to have it all figured out as you move through this journey. It's not going to happen. Just an absolute refusal to let the hard things be the end of my story. Okay? So now you know what not ready looks like. Let's talk about what ready looks like. So what does a coach see in someone who is ready? This is the stuff that gets me mega excited. So these are the signs to look for. That person shows up consistently, even when life is messy. They get the earbud, they're on a job cleaning, they're driving their kids home, they're listening, right? That's not perfect. They're listening, they tuned in. Not just when it's convenient, not when they're sitting on the couch, laying around, not when they're feeling motivated. They're on the call when they're tired. They submit the homework when it's not perfect. You're just going to do it, right? You're just going to do it, okay? They do uncomfortable things anyways. They raise prices even though they're scared. Have those hard conversations with an employee even though it's awkward. They stop cleaning, although it feels weird not to be in the field anymore. Some people feel guilty to not clean anymore. You get over that. They feel that fear and they do it anyways, okay? Another thing people do when they're ready to be coached is they trust the process, even through plateaus. There's going to be plateaus. I promise you that. Every single one of my rock stars hit a moment where momentum slowed and the doubt crept in. The ones who are ready, they message me. They stay in the game. They stay in the work. They don't disappear. They don't make excuses. They don't say, I can't do this. I can't do that, blah, 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 right? All that stuff. I've heard it before a million times, right? Just making excuses for yourself. They take radical ownership of what's going on in their business. That's the biggest thing that I see when someone is really ready to push through and grow, they take just radical ownership. And now they stop blaming people around them. They stop blaming employees and coaches and partners and stuff like that. Nothing is anyone's fault anymore. They take on their own responsibility. They take accountability. That is the shift that makes the difference. Okay. Outside circumstances are always going to be hard. You're always going to have life stuff. So you want to look at it like this. Like, you never want to be that person that says it's always something, right? One thing after another, right? Get over it. Life is an obstacle, right? Life is an obstacle. Find ways to go around obstacles. Look at life's obstacles like the devil. I'm going to bring this up because I think this is a cool analogy. If you look at life's obstacles like the devil, something that is trying to stop you right before you have a moment of clarity and the goal is right around the corner, that the devil's coming in, right? He's coming in and he's trying to deter you from hitting the goal, right? That's a way to think of it, right? If you're religious, I've thought of it like this way. That's almost what it feels like. So myself, when I have an obstacle, I say, you are not going to get me, right? I'm going to find a way to go around you. That is what I mean by taking radical ownership, okay? Radical ownership. A ready client asks, what can I control here? What can I not control here? Instead of, why is this happening to me? Poor me. I can't see a way out of the tunnel, right? Nobody wants to. That's not a rock star. No one's going to praise you if you talk like that to yourself, right? So rock stars get clear on their goal and their why for doing this. This is non-negotiable. You cannot build something if you don't know what you're building towards. And your why has to be deep enough that it still matters on the hard days. Not, I want to make more money. That's not a why, right? A why is, I want to build something great that gives my kids a different life than I had. That's a why. That's different. Okay. A why is, I refuse to be 60 years old and still cleaning someone else's toilets. That's a why, right? That's a big why. A why is very visceral. It keeps you up at night. It pulls you forward when the motivation runs out, because I'm going to tell you, this business gets hard and the motivation runs out. It's that grit. It's that blood, sweat, and tears that keeps you in the game. Is this making sense, everyone? Is this making sense? Yeah, I've had that crying in the bathroom floor too, totally. Who else is on the call? I see a bunch of people on here, but I don't see any names. Say hi, say hi. So, okay, I'm going to introduce the mirror, right? Let's talk about the mirror again. I've described 3 types of owners. The ghost, who pays for help and then disappears when it gets hard. If you're a ghost, you know you're a ghost. The undecided, who's kind of trying to get some results, but never 100% fully committed to the breakthrough. And then there's the rock star, who decides before it's easy, shows up when it's hard, and trusts the process the whole way through. That's the rock star. Blind faith. Blind faith, okay? Here's what every single one of my rock stars that I've worked with, like I said, Tracy, Gloria, Leah, Tamara, Sam. Oh, there's so many of them. Andrea, Aramis. Who am I forgetting? Cynthia, Marta. Oh my God, Charisse. Tracy, there's so many of them, right? They were scared. They were uncomfortable. They had doubts. They had obstacles. The only difference between them and someone who quits is they showed up anyways. It's the only difference. Candace, Holly. I just keep thinking, I'm trying to think of the names. Tracy raised her prices, didn't lose her clients she was afraid of losing. Gloria went from cleaning every day to being almost completely out of the field. Actually, Gloria's out of the field now. She's been out of the field for a while. Tamara, she built real systems. She went in for surgery and had her staff clean without her, or she couldn't clean. for 6 weeks. Bad ass Tamara is. And we had a deadline and we worked together to get her staff to clean while she recovered from a surgery, and she did it and didn't lose a beat, and they went to work and she made money. That is what we do. That is what I do with people I work with. People that are showing up, I want to learn how to do it. I'm going to give you my all. I'm going to give you 1,000%. You need to give me that 1,000% back, right? These aren't lucky. They're not lucky women. These are decided women. And the undecideds who eventually shift, they can become rock stars too, but only when it gets uncomfortable and only when they get sick of where they are is where they finally commit, I'm going to change this, right? You can start as a ghost and become a rock star. I've seen it happen, but only when you decide, not when I decide for you, right? I'm not going to wave a mirror on your business. You show up, I'll give you the tools, I'll show you how to do it. I'll show you how to walk and talk and lead and change your mindset, but ultimately you're doing it, right? So let me just be direct. If you want massive results, if you want to build the kind of business that runs without you, that generates real income, that gives you your life back, here's what you need. If you want to write these down, definitely write these down. Number 1, you need a ruthless, clear goal. Not, I want to grow. You need a number. You need a date. You need a vision you can see. I want to hit 30K a month by December 1st. I want to be out of the field in 90 days. Specific, real, and non-negotiable. Okay? 2, you need a why that goes bone deep. Because on the days when it's hard, and there's always going to be hard days, your why is the only thing that keeps you moving. Number 3, radical ownership of your results, not your market, not your clients, not your employees, you. What are you doing or not doing that is creating these results? 4, a willingness to be uncomfortable consistently for long periods of time, not once, not for a week, consistently for as long as it takes. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable, okay? And number 5, you need someone in your corner who's already built what you're trying to build yourself. That's what coaching is. That's what it's for. You do not have to figure this out alone, and you do not have to take 10 years to do what someone else already figured out how to do in 2 years, okay? So let me leave you with this. I want to help everyone. Genuinely, I do. But I've learned sometimes the hard way that I cannot want your success more than you want it for yourself. I give you the tools. I give you the roadmap. I can hold you accountable. I push you through those plateaus that you're definitely going to hit. I can identify those blind spots and celebrate every single win with you, which is the ultimate joy of what I do. But what I cannot do is do the work for you. And I won't pretend that everyone who comes through my program is equally committed, because that would be a lie. They're not. And you deserve the truth. What I can tell you is this: the owners who show up and do the work, who trust the process, even when it's uncomfortable, they get results that changes their entire lives. Not someday, not eventually, within months, if they're committed. Not ready, kind of ready, rock star. One of those is you right now, and only you know which one. So hold up the mirror and say, which one are you? It's okay. If you're the rock star, or you're the undecided who's finally fed up enough to become a rock star, maybe Drop Them Up was built for you. That's my signature program. You just sat through 30 minutes of truth and ripping the Band-Aid off, and right now in your gut, you already know which one you are, right? The ghost, the undecided, or the rock star. You don't need a checklist to tell you that. You felt it during this training. Either you were nodding along and thinking, yep, that's me, I'm ready. Or you're squirming a little bit because you recognized you're in the wrong column, or you don't want to be in the column that I said you could be in the column from, right? Both those feelings are valid, and both are information. So what I want you to do with that information, if you're the rock star or if you're the undecided who's just fed up enough to finally decide, I'm not going to wait for the perfect time anymore, right? Stop waiting till the business is more stable. It's not going to be stable for a while. If you're having problems in your business with employees or clients, or crappy quality, or there's no tech in your place, or there's no systems in your place, and people are canceling all the time, your business isn't going to be stable while you try and fix it. Right? Stop waiting to feel ready, because you're never going to be ready. I was talking with a client, Autumn Smith. She's amazing. Made in Indy, out of Indiana. She's in Drop the Mop, the group program, and she wanted to get everything, all her ducks in a row. I want to have my employee handbook done. I want to have all my SOPs. I want to have all my tech in place. I want to have my payroll in place, all this stuff. And last week on the call, we kind of went through it. I'm like, Autumn, you're not going to be ready. You're never going to be ready, because there's always going to be something to do. So just understand that, pick one thing, and then just start to grow, right? Start to grow a little at a time. Be uncomfortable without having everything figured out. Something about women, they always, especially the women owners, men can kind of navigate through this better. Women, like, they think they need to have everything. They need to be ready. You're never going to be ready. Just do it, right? Just do it, right? That feeling doesn't come before the work. You're always going to feel uncomfortable. All right. So if you're ready to learn, if you're ready, DM me. I'll help you. I'll help you transform your business, but I cannot do the work for you. If you're not there yet, totally okay. I do live trainings once a week on YouTube, Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come back when you're ready, right? I'll be here. Let's drop the mop. Let's drop the mop, everyone. Hi, Christina. How are you? Hi, Bright Power Wash. Yes. All right, everyone. I'll see you all next week. YouTube, 5 p.m. Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Quick announcement. I'm going to be diving into some brand new trainings never seen before. I'm releasing them only on YouTube. They're going to be coming up in the next few months, and I'm just so excited to bring them to you, and I can't wait. All right, everyone, have an amazing day. Hope this was helpful for you. Oh, Christina, I love you, girl. How are you? Connect with me. Let me know how your business is going. I know we talked a couple months ago. You're welcome. I try to keep it real. I try and keep it real for everyone. I don't believe in sugarcoating anything. So I think you guys all know that. No, April, you got to grow while it's all messy. You don't have to have everything completed. No way. I didn't. I worked through the hard times always, right? Karina, I love you. All right, everyone. Have an amazing evening. I will see you all next week.